Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Global Kindness Going Viral. I'm your host, Karen Palmer, the queen of global kindness and mindful media mom on all social media, using all social media to help raise the levels of gratitude, joy, love, kindness, and peace on earth. And we are here on Spirituality Gone Wild, and we are grateful that you are here. We're having a gratitude moment with our amazing guest, and I'd love for you to type into the chat for us where you're watching from, because we'd love to hear from our beautiful global family. I'm in Southern California, and Devin, where are you?
I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Salt Lake City, Utah. Awesome. Wonderful. So let me just share a little bit about Devin. Devin Thorpe calls himself a champion of social good. As an author, speaker, and journalist, he focuses on those doing so much good in the world. And we're going to hear about all of that tonight. So please share this out. Invite your followers, invite your friends, invite your family. He's also a Forbes contributor, and he covers social entrepreneurship and impact investing. He's also the president of the National Speakers Association, Mountain West chapter, and he shares inspiring insights to help others do more good. His books on personal finance and crowdfunding draw on his entrepreneurial finance experience as an investment banker, CFO, treasurer, and mortgage broker, helping people use financial resources to do good. Don't we love this, you guys? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us, Devin.
It's an honor. It really is an honor, and I appreciate so much the invitation. Thank you, Karen. You are so kind.
We are so grateful. We have some beautiful visitors here in England, and we have some people from Australia. And thank you so much, our beautiful global family. It's growing and growing. The more we speak, kindness, compassion, it's at its peak. I challenge you. You challenge me. We are one global family. There's unity in all we seek. So spread this wide and find a way. Do something kind every day. This is Global Kindness Going Viral, and we are so thrilled to have you all here. I'm going to share this out and let people know that we are live, so please do the same for us. Share this out on all your groups. Invite all your friends and family in here so we can talk about how do we start doing this crowdfunding. First, I want to talk to you, Devin, about a little bit about your background and how this really was so passionate for you and how this became such a passion for you. And then please tell us a little bit about your book and how people can get in touch with you to follow you on all social media too.
Well, thank you, Karen. I guess my story, at least the relevant parts of it, begins when I was about 11 years old. I was living here in Salt Lake, and in southern Idaho, about 4 hours drive from here, a dam called the Teton Dam failed. And the reservoir of water that was full behind it, in fact, it was the first time they'd ever filled the reservoir, of course, made a horrific flood that damaged or destroyed about 80% of the structures in the town of Rexburg, a town of about 15,000 people. Wow. So it was a major problem for the little community. And so people from all around the West ended up visiting Rexburg that summer to help in an organized way. And one day that summer, my dad came to me and said, Devin, I'm going to go to Rexburg on Saturday to clean the muck and mud out of basements. Would you like to come? And, I was an 11-year-old kid, digging muck and mud and going on a bus ride sounded like a good time. So I said, sure. And we went, we left at 2:00 in the morning, rode all through the night, got there at dawn, worked until it got dark, and got back on the buses. And, it's hard to see on camera here in this situation, but I'm not an especially big guy now. And as an 11-year-old, I was probably, frankly, not any help at all. But I sure felt like I had helped. I spent the whole day there. I worked hard. I was exhausted when I got done. And we as a group had certainly made a difference in the lives of a number of families by literally digging the muck and mud out of their basements. So I remember I felt so good about that I wanted to have that feeling again. And so I vowed a vow that I would never miss an opportunity to serve. Well, over the years, I missed a lot of opportunities to serve, as you might imagine. But when I got fired from the best job I'd ever had about 7 years ago, I decided to sort of channel that energy of my youth to refocus on doing good. And so I spent a year in China as a professor teaching business classes in English, and used that time to sort of rethink and reset, and ended up writing a book about doing good in the world, and came back and launched a new career championing social good. So that's kind of my story.
And it's wonderful. It's such a wonderful show that you have. That now that came from the book. Is that how did that all come about for you? That you decided to do a show, and is it just a web series or is it also on television?
Yeah, it's a web series. So the show, it's just odd how these things come about. It was almost by accident, and it really comes out of my affinity for technology. But after I wrote the book and came back to Utah, I was invited to write for as a contributor for Forbes, which I've now been doing for almost 6 years. I've written almost 500 pieces, and Google introduced Google Hangouts. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever that I did too. Yeah, I could have a guest on live like we're doing right now, and I could embed a YouTube player in an article on Forbes, and everyone in the world could choose to watch that. And I thought, this is like having my own CBS, and I already have the benefit of being on Forbes, so I've got this great channel. And so I fell in love with that, started doing it. I've switched technologies and made a lot of other changes along the way, but I've now done almost 1,000 of those interviews. And it's just a really delightful thing. I just love doing it. And, it's like what you do, right? It's just so fun to talk to good people about the good things they're doing. Who wouldn't want to do that all day long?
Right, exactly. And that's why I was forward to have I'm echoing. Let's try this. Let's see, is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
What about you?
I think I'm okay. I don't think it's echoing anymore. All right. So we'll get rid of those headphones, and I will just enjoy our beautiful time together. And so I wanted to ask you a few questions about your show and about the work that you do with these amazing organizations, and how we might learn more about that. I know that that you are a contributor on Forbes, and that you have so many wonderful articles that are just so inspiring. And I highly recommend everyone follow Devin on all of his social media. All of your social media is Devin D. Thorpe, correct?
Well, not quite all.
Okay.
So yeah, you can find me, my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle are both Devin D. Thorpe. D is in Devin in the middle. But I'm not Devin Thorpe. I'm Devin Dayton Thorpe, but you only have to remember the D. So Devin D. Thorpe. On Facebook, I'm Devin Thorpe. On LinkedIn, I'm Devin Thorpe. And so long story, but yes, that's the deal. You can find me pretty easily on those 4 platforms. I'm also on YouTube at Devin Thorpe. So youtube.com/Devin Thorpe. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Welcome, Debbie Garcia. She's another one of our beautiful gratitude girls here on Spirituality Gone Wild. And welcome, Shay from New Zealand, and Naomi. Welcome. Thank you for being here from Tokyo, Japan. Isn't this fun? We have such a beautiful global family all together here. And I'm so incredibly grateful for all of you to take the time to be here and to take this gratitude moment to just think about how can we bring more good and bring more kindness, bring more compassion to all areas of our life. So tell us a little bit about the crowdfunding and how does that exactly work?
So, of course, crowdfunding is a lot of different things, but it is a powerful tool for doing good, right? And so I think most of us now, there's been sort of an evolution, but the most common use of crowdfunding now is helping people with personal tragedy, right? So the GoFundMe application of crowdfunding. So people put up a campaign when a friend or loved one has had a tragedy, and we raise money to help them through that tragedy. So that's kind of the use case that we are most familiar with, and there's probably no better example of kindness than to do that. I think what it demonstrates is that people want to be able to give to people they know, to stories they validated, and they don't like the intermediation of nonprofits and others being involved. It's interesting. So then, of course, people can, lots of organizations do crowdfund, and they do raise a lot of money via crowdfunding. And those that are most savvy have figured out ways to use crowdfunding in a way that adds transparency to their model, so that people get that same sense, that same feeling of being able to help with a specific project, a specific family, a specific something, so that they know exactly what's going on with their money. So that's, of course, another use case for crowdfunding. And of course, that is another great example of kindness. Then, of course, those of us who've been paying attention a little longer remember that crowdfunding really came on the scene. We started talking about it with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And people were creating new things, whether that was a movie, an album, a gadget, but they would bring something to market. And before it was really ready, they would do a crowdfunding campaign to say, if you'll give me 50,000 or 50 million or whatever it might be, I will make this item and deliver it to you. And it was a really remarkable phenomenon, right, in the world, to be able to say, wow, I've got an idea for something, and if you'll trust me, I'll go build it and deliver it to you. And again, in a way, this is a great example of kindness. And we see, in fact, how kind people are in general, that they're willing to trust that an entrepreneur might take 2 years to go out and build and deliver the item, but that they would do that. I mean, it's crazy in a way that people were willing to do that. And if you'd back in 1985, if you had asked me, Devin, will people pay for an item that isn't yet even built and wait 2 years for it to be delivered and be happy when it is? Would people ever do that? I would say absolutely not. And yet what we see is that people do it all day, every day, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars every year. It's really exciting. And again, another example of kindness. And finally, what's happened with crowdfunding is people started to say, well, instead of giving people a gadget or a t-shirt, what if we could give them a part of the company? What if we could give them equity in the business instead of the gadget, or in addition to the gadget? And it took regulators a long time to figure out how to make this work, but now that's legal. And so hundreds of millions of dollars are raised every year in different variations under different regulatory schemes for people who sell shares to, people over the internet. And so that too is an exciting application of crowdfunding, and a great example of kindness again, because we're talking oftentimes about a huge leap of faith, a huge leap of trust, again, to to give people a chance to build a business. Oftentimes we see they're businesses that have a social mission as well. They want to do some good in the world, but they've got a for-profit model that will allow them to make a difference. And so we see all kinds of cool things now coming to market, in part funded by equity crowdfunding. So as you see, there are really, 4 different examples that we've talked through what crowdfunding is, but they all tie in my mind, to this theme of altruism and kindness.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to talk a little bit about Even Stevens, because I was reading about Even Stevens and I thought, what an awesome idea. What a beautiful, beautiful concept. So can you tell us a little bit about that? That's a wonderful, wonderful organization. And
yes, it really is. So as you know, I did a little story about Even Stevens for Forbes last week. The founders, the business is only 4 years old now. They have 20 sandwich shops now in 6 different states. It's a thriving, growing business, and really kind of exciting. But their whole model is, for every sandwich someone buys, they give a sandwich away.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's a great kindness model. But they figured out very early on, even before they started selling sandwiches, that it wouldn't really make sense to just literally make an extra sandwich every time you made a sandwich, because there may or may not be anybody around who needs the sandwich and it might go to waste. So what they did is they set up accounts with their food supplier, Cisco, for nonprofits, and they just contribute 54 cents, enough to make a sandwich, every time someone buys a sandwich from them. And so then these nonprofit partners can go use that account to buy food to either feed people directly or to make sandwiches, whatever they want to do. They can then use that money and that food to help supplement whatever else they may be doing. And so oftentimes it's food banks and food pantries that are the beneficiaries of this program. But truly, truly an amazing of donated food. Just really an amazing thing.
It is. And, it really shows us that kindness in business is real and that it's possible. You see, as I was telling you before, I am one of the national kindness leaders with the Kindness Collective. And we're bringing together all of the kindness leaders to bring as many possible to be able to share as much of our social reach. We have a 27 million social reach together. So it seems like it makes more sense to put us all together and to work together as a beautiful oneness, bringing this message of kindness. I'm also working with World Kindness USA and the World Kindness Movement. The founder of the World Kindness Movement was one of the kindness leaders that I got to meet, Will Glennon, and they're celebrating their 20th anniversary of World Kindness Day in November. So I reached out to you. I would love to have, to be on one of your shows about this amazing kindness phenomenon that's happening. It's really, really growing. And, when I made the wish in 2014, I made a wish for global kindness to go viral. And at the time, I had no idea how to use any kind of technology. And my daughter was a teenager at the time, and she helped me learn how to use technology. She actually helped me upload my first video. And I started reaching out to people and asking people to share their story of what they're doing in their corner of the world. Well, people contacted me from all over, just bringing up these beautiful stories. And that's how it got started for me. Then I realized that Dr. David Hawkins wrote a book called Power versus Force. And I started using Periscope and Twitter to build the beautiful communities and doing global meditations, because one person who's vibrating with love in their heart, with peace on their mind, and with kindness in their actions counterbalances 750,000 people who are in the low vibration of shame and fear and bigotry. And so I started doing these meditations and they just exploded. And then I was asked to be the host on the Love in Action TV. They saw one of my shows, and then Global Meditation Scopes asked me to be on there, be a host for their show. And it was just, so I became Mindful Media Mom. This mom who had absolutely no technology and no marketing became a social media expert, you know? So it was such a beautiful experience. And I'm also a singer and a songwriter. And so I wanted to create musical coloring books that empower children and families to color together, to do charitable acts together, and to learn how to meditate and do mindful actions in their family, have conscious communication and nonviolent communication, bringing all of that into the schools. Yeah. And that's what my nonprofit does.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
So that's
what do you call your nonprofit?
It's Eco Angel Enterprises.
Okay.
Yeah, and I started that in 2003 when my daughter was in kindergarten, and there were no programs for this in the schools. So that's how I got started with my nonprofit organization. I designed a board game called Let's Save Our Earth, which is an eco-friendly board game to help children to see that everyone makes a difference.
Oh, it's so true. So true. Everyone does make a difference, don't they?
We all do. And that's how, you know, I really feel that that's why our shows, both of our shows, have become so successful, because everyone wants to feel like they matter, that they make a difference. And everybody does. And even if you're just reaching 1 to 10 people, you are adding to the light and not to the illusion of the separateness. And when we're adding to the light and we're adding to the love and we're adding to the kindness, we're raising that vibration, just like Dr. David Hawkins shared with us. And so we become this powerful force. Now imagine 27 million of us coming together with kindness and love and gratitude as our intention, and having intentional kindness, like even Stevens, like what you're doing with your beautiful show, and what you've done with Forbes, you know, what you've been able to do, you know, really using all of these platforms for good. I love that.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind.
And I wanted to share a couple of comments that people have shared in here. Joy is in, Joy, can you let us know where you are? I think you said Minnesota. I saw something like that yesterday. It was about a pizza parlor where people donated $1 for each pizza that they bought, and then they'd put a sticky tab on a bulletin board, and when anyone came in who couldn't afford to pay, they were encouraged to pick a sticky note off of the board. It's all so awesome. Thank you, Joy. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, let us know. Share with us all the wonderful things that are happening in your corner of the world. And Devin, tell us about these beautiful women who are using this financial beautiful platform to really raise awareness and bring this social good. I'd love to hear about that. I was reading about their beautiful mission. Could you tell us a little bit about that also?
Well, sure. I'm not sure if you're talking about Emily at doTERRA or the 3 nonprofit ladies.
Talking about both of them. I'm talking about
there are a lot of women on my show. I try to make sure there are a lot.
Both of them. Now, Emily, is that for Somalia?
Yes, the Somalia lady with doTERRA. So we could talk about her, or maybe you're thinking about the 3 women who launched this Me Too related initiative for nonprofit leaders.
Yes.
But those 3 I think this whole Me Too movement got them thinking about nonprofits and their situation, and fundraisers especially. And it really struck me, I'd never given this thought before. We think of philanthropists as being wonderful, good people, and of course they are. That's certainly the rule, and that's the consistent thing. Most fundraisers are women. Many, I dare say most philanthropists are men. They are rich, powerful men. The women who are working for nonprofits are often not rich. So there is a real power dynamic there. The donor, the philanthropist, is in a position to not only give a big gift to the nonprofit, but also to make a difference in the career of the woman working for the nonprofit. And of course, this affects men as well who are working in nonprofits, who are at a same power disadvantage. Right. But it's primarily women because of the number of women working in nonprofits. And so some of the philanthropists, of course, are powerful men who are used to getting their way, who aren't accustomed to treating women with respect, and the women are in a bit of a vulnerable position. And so the women shared that there are some really bad experiences out there, and that in fact, being subject to at least sexual harassment is almost universal in that space, and being subject to some sexual assaults are even happening. It's a tragic thing. And so these three women,
one in three women have been abused. I am one, so I'm also a supporter of the Me Too movement. I believe that it's so important that we all come together. And there's men who are part of the Me Too movement also. We need to end violence altogether.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And there are men who are victims, not just perpetrators. Absolutely. And it is tragic. And so it shouldn't just be a women's discussion, but women are somewhat more vulnerable in general, I think, and certainly in the context of the nonprofit space, especially among fundraisers, there is a special vulnerability there. And so these three women are working to help cure that. And they've taken a very broad look at trying to figure out what needs to be fixed in the nonprofit space. One of the, they point out that not only are women more vulnerable in that to sexual harassment in kind of a Me Too sense of the word, but that they're also less likely to have great opportunities. Here we have this huge space of nonprofits where 75% of the employees in nonprofits are women, but only 43% of CEOs are women. And only, I think, 15% of the CEOs of big nonprofits are women. I may have these statistics wrong. I'm going from memory from the story I did a couple weeks ago. But it is really a shame that there are so many ways in which this women-dominated industry is not really being fair to the women. And so I really hope that dialogue that they are leading now will help change the power dynamics in the nonprofit sector so that women get more opportunities at the top, which they so incredibly and obviously deserve. So yeah, it's a crazy upside down bag of data. And so I look forward to seeing that change.
The light shined on it. There's some dark spaces, and I'm like that with the animal rescue. I work with animal rescue, and I have worked with animal rescue, and you have to go into those dark places and shine your light. Same thing with children who've been abused. You have to go into those dark places and help them to see their magnificence, so that we can really shine that light. And tell us a little bit more about the Somalia story too, because that was such a $1 billion she's raised.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So Emily Wright is her name. She's one of the co-founders of a company called doTERRA, and the company is doing over $1 billion a year in revenue. Big, huge, profitable company. It's also based here in Utah. They sell essential oils through network marketing, and there are a few that will giggle at that, but it's a hugely successful business. And these essential oils come from the strangest places, right? Frankincense, we know a lot of us with the Christian tradition can recognize frankincense from our Christmas stories, but it turns out that it is to this day a valuable essential oil that has healing properties. So it is sought after, and there are generations of farmers that care for and have cared for the frankincense trees in Somalia. Of all the weird places that might be, that's where frankincense grows. And so the company went there and tried to figure out how to build up the supply, and they wanted it to benefit the people who were on the ground in Somalia doing the work, not the middlemen who would come by and collect the frankincense from them, and sort of at abusive prices, right? They would come in and buy. These farmers are desperately poor, and so faced with the choice of something versus nothing for their products, they would take something, but it wasn't anything like its fair value. So doTERRA folks went in and they identified the needs in the community. And before they even took their first shipment of frankincense, they delivered a variety of things, including especially animals that were needed in the community for agriculture. So, they delivered cows and goats and that sort of thing. And the community thought, wow, that's pretty wild. You're going to show up and deliver value to us before we even start delivering. And so that's created a positive relationship, and they were able to build on that. So the company started building warehouses where people could do the work of preparing the product. And so it's allowed them to do two things, right? It's allowed them to have a safe place to do the work they were doing before, and now to add more value to the product. So what they deliver to doTERRA is a more finished product than they were delivering to the middlemen before. So they have quintupled their income in the community from the presence of doTERRA sourcing in that community. So it's a huge benefit to the community.
So much inspiration.
Yeah. Now they've built schools, and they built a clinic. They're working on building a hospital there. And you think about Somalia, it's one of the most desperately poor countries on the planet. I mean, there really isn't even a functioning government. And here's doTERRA doing business and making a difference in this faraway place that most people, let's be honest, most people can't even find Somalia on a map. And these folks are there on the ground, and they don't have to be. They could just buy it from the middlemen and close their eyes to how it's sourced and what's going on there. So very cool.
Right. It is so cool. And thank you, Kathy Watson from Australia. Thank you, Global Kindness Going Viral in Australia. We love you. Thank you so much. So I want to give a little bit of time here for you guys to ask any questions. Has this been inspiring to you? I'm just ready to jump out of my seat and really think about all the ways that we can collaborate on all of these beautiful, beautiful organizations, and how we can, co-create this beautiful, kinder, and more loving world for all of us. So, Devin, I loved what you shared in your video when you spoke at the United Nations, how you said that you'd really like to just be part of the solution. So tell me, how do you feel that you have been that, and that this has really been a journey for you?
Well, I appreciate you asking. I talked about kind of my foundation my childhood experience with
Yeah.
digging muck and mud out of a basement. And that really, I don't want to overemphasize that, but certainly that set the tone. That set the seed of wanting to do good in the world. And,
Absolutely.
I have to bring what I have to the table. And, I love doing this. Flipping the script a little bit. I love being the interviewer. I love talking to great people like you. And so that has been a joy. I enjoy writing. I enjoy technology. And so I've kind of found this niche where gathering and telling stories to inspire people to do good and to encourage people who are doing good to keep doing it. That's kind of what I've developed as a thing. And so I can take those stories that I gather by, talking to people and traveling around the world and then share them as I write, speak, as I write books. I mean, I can use it in every different way. Those same stories get told over and over again in different ways. And so they live kind of forever through me. And I really do believe that just having this dialogue, much as you believe, just by having the dialogue, we encourage more good behavior. I certainly hope that is true.
And John Fiora, thank you. He says, bless you. Bless you.
Well,
thank you. We are so blessed to have you all here, and we are so grateful to hear about what you're up to in your corner of the world. And that's why I say at every end, yes, you love doTERRA and you love the frankincense story. Thank you so much for that, Devin. Kathy Watson in Australia says, thank you so much for this beautiful time that you've spent with us, feeling so inspired and excited about how we can have a kinder and more loving world. Yes, it's so exciting when we think about how, this has grown in such a beautiful way. I remember when I first started in 2014, so many people were, just saying, why are you wasting your time doing all of those social good things? And why do you even use hashtags? You don't even understand how to use them. And I said, but I'm learning how to use them and see the power of social media. I call it sacred social media because it's very powerful. And when we start to learn how to use it for a sacred and intentional kindness, we really start to make a huge difference, and we can reach, our beautiful global family. So, Devin, what would you like to say in closing?
Well, Karen, thank you so much for having me on. It's been just a joy to be here, and I appreciate the great work that you're doing to spread kindness. It's so incredibly important. I guess the thought I would leave with you is that as we think about kindness, and I think you see the world through this lens as well, it's incredibly important that we be kind in our day-to-day interactions, that we be the pleasant person that we all know we should be, whether we're talking about how we drive, how we interact with the order taker at McDonald's or the server at the restaurant or the flight attendant. If we remember our humanity all the time, we'll be more kind, and that's important. But there's so much more that needs to be done in the world. A smile, a kindness doesn't feed starving children in Africa, right? It doesn't solve the problem that 1 billion people in the world, or nearly 1 billion, don't have access to clean water. It doesn't address the fact that nearly half the world's population doesn't have proper sanitation for using the bathroom.
Right.
There are some real huge problems that we all need to engage in. And so our kindness has to be outbound. We have to be proactive. We have to address those problems. Kindness calls on us to do that. And I would even go one step further. You're a big animal advocate. So am I. I'm a vegan. And so I'm really proud of the fact that animals don't die so that I can live, right? I really believe in the importance of kindness to animals. Beyond that, I think we have to be thoughtful about Mother Earth, right? In and of herself. The planet we live on is a sacred, sacred place. And we owe the planet a care of duty as human beings. Here we live on this planet, and there's so much good we owe back to this planet that feeds us and provides us life in so many ways. And I mean nothing to, I don't mean to take anything away from God. Certainly I'm a faithful Christian and believe in all those things but absolutely we have an obligation to take care of the earth. And that means we've got to be thoughtful about everything from our pollution to our carbon footprint. And so, for instance, I've made a point to not only reduce my carbon output as much as I possibly can, but then to buy carbon offsets to make sure that I am carbon neutral or better. We can argue about whether I should call that carbon negative or carbon positive, but the bottom line is I'm on the good side of that equation. And I think everyone needs to think about how they can get there. It's remarkably affordable, by the way. I spend $18 a month buying carbon offsets for the carbon that my wife and I produce. It's really not hard to do that. And so we all can. I think we all should.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Gina Marie is a beautiful blessing. I just want to share just a little bit about her beautiful, I'm trying to move so you can see this beautiful kindness catcher that Gina Marie made for me and sent to me. And I want to share what it is. It's a beautiful message that was created to highlight mindfulness and kindness, infused with the energy of kindness and designed to awaken kindness in the hearts and actions. So Gina Marie, thank you so much for that beautiful, and there's my beautiful coloring book up there. My daughter did this whole little design for me and cleaned up all my areas so that I have a little more organized look here. Yes, hi Evan. Yes, thank you. Evan Hirsch is here, and he was with the Summer of Love in San Francisco. So there's so many wonderful people here. And I just want to thank you so much, Devin. You bring a beautiful crowd, and our beautiful communities are coming together. And I believe that just as we talked about, we are all in this together. That's my song, Connecting Hearts in Every Weather. So play your part, make a start, share your heart, spread it wide. Global kindness going viral now. Share the love, that is how we will have kindness now. Share a message of hope and joy. And just like Devin said, do what you can in your corner of the world. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Devin, so much.
Thank you.
This is such a beautiful time. I would love to have you come back and maybe be a monthly contributor to share all the good things happening in Social Good. And I will be in touch with you. I would love to be a contributor to write as a guest blogger for the Kindness and Compassion Corner.
We'd love to have you. Thank you. We'll definitely have you on the show, and we'd love to have you contribute Kindness Corner to the Your Mark on the World platform.
Yay! Thank you. You heard that first here, you guys. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you, Devin. See, ask and you shall receive. Thank you so much, Devin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. When I reached out to Devin, Devin is a huge, huge, beautiful social influencer. He has an incredible community of supporters, and his message is so uplifting and inspiring. And I reached out to him over Twitter, and honestly, when he reached back, I was so incredibly grateful. And when I really want people to realize what a kind and loving and beautiful soul you are, Devin, and how gentle and important your message is, and how you are like a gentle giant, and it's so beautiful. And thank you for sharing about when you were 11 years old. You know, I started back when I was in Massachusetts as a little girl, cleaning up litter on the beach and getting called back and saying, "Don't touch that litter." And I would say, "Well, we can't leave it there or it'll go into the ocean." And lots and lots of people didn't really see that. I didn't see things the way I saw the world. And so, it's so beautiful when we can see the world through the eyes of love and through the eyes of endless possibility. And I hope that I can, be able to be a contributor financially to help, end some of these dilemmas that we have. And I can't wait to bring you into all of our communities and introduce you to We the World. And are you familiar with the Global Prosperity and Peace Initiative? My friend Paula Fellingham is the founder. She's in the Salt Lake City area also.
I know Paula well. What a great lady.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Oh, great. That's
yeah.
Well, she'll be one of the first people I'd like to write about, because we have incredible things planned. And so many. That's going to be 11 of the 17 global goals that we're helping to solve with the Global Prosperity and Peace Initiative. And I'm the director of media for that. So I'm really, and then have you heard of We the World?
No, I haven't heard of We the World.
This is Rick Ulfik, and this is a collaborative of many, hundreds and thousands of grassroots organizations coming together to collaborate and work together. And we have the 11 Days of Global Unity that starts on September 11th and goes till September 21st. So see, there's so many great things that we can bring to each other's little potluck.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how it all happens, isn't it?
I think so. I'm always so grateful, and I'm always so amazed at how the world, we all come together and we're all in this together. And when we realize that that's really the only thing that needs healing in this world is the illusion that we're separate, because we're all in this together and we really, really do need each other. And this beautiful story of Somalia is a perfect example of that. I'm going to reach out to her to have her on the show too. And I also reached out to Jeff Nash. Tell just a quick little blurb about him too, because I am going to reach out to him. Beautiful, yeah. Another beautiful soul.
He's just amazing. Jeff now runs a treatment facility for recovering addicts in Hawaii. And he himself is a recovering addict. He worked his way, I think, without ever leaving. He went to Habilitat twice. He left early, fell back into the old patterns, went back.
Yeah, because 30 days it's not long enough.
Yeah, 30 days isn't long enough. He was there a year and it wasn't long enough. So he went back, stayed his 2 years. And by the time he was done with the 2 years there, they offered him a job and he just worked his way up. Now he runs the place. So an amazing guy, and just as nice a human being as you'll ever meet.
It's so exciting. Yes. Thank you, Devin, so much. I'm going to be reaching out to many of the beautiful stories that I've read because of you. And anyone who, when you see Devin and you see anything that Devin has that he's been sharing, please retweet it. Please share it on your posts, because this is what sacred social media really is. And realize that you do make a difference, and your social media really does add to the light. So continue to keep doing what you're doing and being this beautiful, beautiful force for love and kindness. And thank you everyone so much for being here. I'll be back on Thursday night for Team Kindness with John Raymer. Now, do you know about Charter for Compassion and the Compassion Games?
No, that one's a new one to me.
Yay! I'll be bringing all of this to you. See, we'll be having the Compassion and the Kindness Corner on your beautiful, beautiful, this is going to be so much fun. This is going to be so much fun. Thank you so much, Devin.
All righty.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with all of us. We so appreciate you. Everyone's saying, my heart is so full right now. I feel so blessed. Oh, it's a gratitude moment, isn't it? Thank you, guys. If you're new to Spirituality Gone Wild, make sure you like our page and leave us a review. It really helps us out on Facebook if you can leave us a review, because that way people know all about that this is a media channel that's dedicated to raising the levels of compassion, gratitude, joy, love, and peace on earth. And that's all we do, is broadcast that. So please take the time to focus your attention on the good stuff and really raise that level of love and kindness and gratitude in your own life, in your family life, in your community, and in your world. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
This is beautiful. Thank you so much, Devin.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
What a blessing. This really has been just an answer to a prayer. I just want to one more time say thank you again, really from the bottom of my heart. And I know that I'll be in touch with you about these other organizations and ways that we can collaborate.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.